what is the best way? What's the best way to communicate to prospects and customers? Well, I'm not going to give you like the silver bullet because we're all going to disagree on what is the best way. But I'm gonna give you a great way for you to be able to determine how your customers are going to respond and react to you. What is the best way for them to respond and react to you? So the simple thing that I always ask myself is, what would I do? How would I do this? Robert Reeves, Michael Baldwin, what's going on? If guys, if you would, hey, share this out to your page, share it out to some groups. Let's get this information into everybody's hands. But I always ask myself when we're putting together marketing campaigns or we're figuring out messaging campaigns, how would I react? How would I respond? How would I want to be communicated to? I can tell you this. If somebody calls my phone and I don't recognize the number, that thing goes to voicemail for the most part, unless I'm expecting a call or something like that. Even if I know their number, I might be busy. I might be in the middle of something. It just isn't a good time to talk. And you guys all know those friends when they call, like, do I got 30 minutes to invest in a phone call? Usually we don't, right? Usually we don't. Now, if my wife gets on here, whenever she calls, I answer just so she knows. But think about it. How do you respond to that? And a lot of times you may think, well, that's not my customer. I'm not my customer, blah, 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 blah. But you are the population. And the way that communication trends go is the way that most people react. I can tell you that, 5 years ago, email marketing was a phenomenal tool. Like the open rates were ridiculously good. The click-through rates were awesome. And over the past 5 years, that has slowly started to change. It hasn't went from being to where it's obsolete, and we're probably still a bunch of years off from that. But it's definitely changed in a great way to communicate with the masses. I can honestly tell you the best way for us to communicate with our customers is through video and through text. For instance, we use Responsibid for our service business, and we send out quotes via Responsibid. We put a video on there that's about a minute long, minute and a half long, I think, and it talks about us thanking them for their business. And it communicates our feelings of having them as a customer. I made it as heartfelt as I could be, honest, straight to the point, but thanking them for their business. And a lot of people tell us that the reason why they choose us is that video. So video is key. Having a solid video process, how you get video, how you put video together, and where you're putting it is awesome. I can tell you this, taking a video every day, if you took a video every single day of yourself, that was 2 to 3 minutes, talking about your customers or work that you had, something around that, and you post it on all your social media and you put it on YouTube. If you did that every single day, you did it for 3 months, say 90 days, I guarantee you that the engagement that you currently have is going to increase by a huge number, 20%, 30%. Why? Because people like video. I read yesterday 500 billion hours are viewed each day on YouTube. That's a lot of cat video, or on social media. I'm sorry, on social media. That's a lot of cat videos. That's a lot of gamer videos. That's a ton of video. And I look at it like, I'm not a huge consumer of video. That's just not my thing always, because I don't really always want to invest the 10, 15, 20 minutes of time that a video goes through. But if it's a minute, 2 minute, 3 minute video, I'll watch it. Or if it's somebody that I'm really interested in, I'll watch it. Like Billie Jean is somebody that I will definitely watch their video. Ryan Stewman, I'll probably watch his videos. But it's because they've developed credibility with me, because they've constantly put out content. I mean, for you guys that follow Gary Vee, the dude is the king of content. But you know what? He's turned me off to his content because it says the same thing over and over and over and over again. So I feel like I've been listening to you, dude, for like 2 years, and I don't have to listen to you anymore because you say the same thing. So that goes back to fresh content. And don't get me wrong, like Gary Vee crushes it. Dude knows how to create an audience. He knows how to engage people. So I'm not trying to bash his game, because his game is strong and he makes a shit ton of money, right? So, but you got to look at like, what's the fresh content? What can I provide fresh content for? So here you go. Here's a great way to provide fresh content. Every day, go into Google and post, or go into Google and search a search term that's related to your business. So for us, we could go in and do pressure washing, and I could see like what is coming up in my feed, right? Or I could look at images and see what's coming up in the images feed. And then I can talk about that for 2, 3, 4 minutes. I'm big on planning your video. And in fact, Sebastian started working with us last August. And Sebastian is the kid's a video savant. He does a lot of our video promotion. I'm actually going to be posting our commercial we just finished, We Clean Cincy. I'll be posting that on my page, putting it in the Mafia. He produced it. I created and directed it, but he was able to produce that video. And he started with us, I believe, full time. It was July or August. And when he started, what I did was I put together a schedule from the time he started, and it went through the end of the end of October, every single week, video and content that I wanted him to work on. Now, that was his job, and that's what he did solely. And so if you guys are owner-operators, or you're running your business, you don't have time to just go through that schedule. But I can tell you this: if you write down what content you want to cover on a weekly basis, and then you focus on putting out a 2-minute, 3-minute, 4-minute video, it doesn't have to be produced. It doesn't have to be something that's professional. All it has to be is content that your customer wants to hear. So what's the best way to communicate with your prospects and customers? Number one is video. Video is a great way to communicate with your prospects and customers. What's another great way? My favorite way to be communicated to by vendors that I use, either for my house or my business, is by text. I love text. Obviously, there's nothing better than sorting out an issue or a problem than picking up the phone and having a conversation about it, or going and meeting them in person. But text messaging to me is it's the quickest way you're going to get my attention, because I look at 100% of my text messages. And I can tell you that because I do not have, let me get out of the light there. I don't have any notifications. Now, that is my OCD. I hate little numbers that show up on your apps. And so I clear mine. My wife doesn't, and it drives me freaking bonkers. But I read 100% of my text messages. And I'm going to guess everybody that's watching this reads 100% of their text messages. So what do you think that tells you about your customers? Gary, I don't get cell phones. Well, start today. Start getting those cell phone numbers today. I can tell you Tyler, who runs sales for us and is responsible for developing our schedule, communicates via text a ton of times with customers. He will bid jobs, he'll bid jobs, sell jobs, schedule jobs via text without talking to them. Somebody else took the information, and Tyler will go after it and do it via text. And he does that a ton. He does it a ton. So begin to utilize text messaging into your sales process. It's a great way to communicate with customers. It's a great way for customers to see your message. And it's a great way for you to be able to communicate with a lot of customers in a short period of time. I can remember I ran a sales department for a consulting agency, and all of our inside salespeople had to make 100 phone calls a day. We monitored the calls. They had phone time. They had to hit like 2 hours of phone time every single day. And it was tough to get 100 phone calls and 2 hours of phone time in an 8-hour day, because you had a bunch of other stuff that you had to do. And so it was very difficult to hit that benchmark, 100 calls and 2 hours of phone time. But I can tell you this, it's not difficult to send out 100 text messages. It just isn't. And the pattern and the method that you can get into with those text messages that you're sending out is a lot more beneficial than a phone call and leaving a message, because you're probably going to leave a message on a big majority of those phone calls. So text messaging is definitely something you should have into your repertoire. So we got video, the best way to communicate with your customers, in my opinion, or one of the most one of the most connective communication tools. Let's call it that. One of the most connective communication tools. Text messaging is one of the most instant communication tools. And then getting into somebody's DMs, Facebook Instant Messenger, LinkedIn Messenger, or LinkedIn Messaging, I should say. Those are great ways to communicate with prospects and customers as well, especially if that's how they started the conversation. If they started the conversation in Facebook or they started the conversation on LinkedIn, continue that conversation on both of those, because if that's how they started it, it tells you that's probably how they're going to continue the communication, or how they're going to continue communicating with you. So getting in their DMs, again, is a great instant communication technique. And I'm saying DMs because it makes me sound hip. It makes me sound cool, right? Even though I'm not. Definitely not hip, not cool. I lost the beard, so the hip and the cool went right out the door. So video, one of the most connective ways to communicate with your customers. Text messaging, a great instant way to connect and communicate with your customers. Getting in those DMs, phenomenal way to connect and communicate with your customers. I'm going to leave you with one final little tidbit here. So if you guys that are social media savvy, and you understand custom audiences, let me give you a little tidbit, little tidbit, something we're trying out right now, actually. So I took 3,000 customers from our database, and we developed a video for a service. And because we're really trying to really hammer down on this service during the summer. It's a higher ticket. It's not easy to do, but it doesn't have a ton of technical issues that go with it. Let's just say that, right? So I took 3,000 people from our customer database, and I created a custom audience in Facebook. We created a video ad, created a custom audience, and we're running it to that, okay? Took those same 3,000 customers, and for the most part, we have cell phone numbers. Loaded those cell phone numbers into our texting program, which we use Easy Texting. And out of those 3,000, I think we got sales on 70%. Sent a quick message with a link to the video and, a landing page that is the video and a form. And then I took those same 3,000 that we have an email address on every single one of them, and I sent them an email with a link. Well, actually, the email is the landing page, a get more info button, and a phone number. Wow. Yeah. So I'm basically creating a trifecta of communication. We have the video in place, right, which to me is the most connective way to communicate to your prospects and customers. We're sending them a text message, and actually we're going to send them a series of text messages. We sent them one the same day that the ad was placed, and then they're going to see that ad over and over and over again for the next 7 days. They're going to get text messages throughout that 7-day period, and then they're going to get 2 emails from us during that 7-day period. They're going to hear nothing but Pressure Wash Cincinnati, Pressure Wash Cincinnati, Pressure Wash Cincinnati, Pressure Wash Cincinnati. And I probably am going to spend maybe $300 in costs related to the ad spend, use of Easy Texting, and obviously the email marketing. My goal is to get maybe five customers out of it. This service, 5 customers will produce somewhere between $7,500 to $10,000. But it's a great way for you to communicate with your customers. You don't have to necessarily communicate a service offering, although I wouldn't recommend communicating to your customer database unless it is about a service offering. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can give them information. You can provide to them information that's helpful. But hitting them with that trifecta, video, text, email, over a 7-day period to where all they see is your message. Man, you want to talk about branding? That's branding. That'll get them in your mind. So communicate, and that was a free tidbit, right? Communicating to your prospects and customers, my opinion, in order. Most connective way, video. Video is the most connective way. Get in a video habit. Get in a video habit. Daily video habit. Putting 2 to 3 minutes of video up, either on your social media, on your website, all the above. Get in the habit. I saw Tim Fields just hop on here, and Tim Fields is getting in the video habit, man. You watch him over the last year, and he went from being non-existent via video to now Tim Fields is he's the video star, right? He is the video star. So get in the video habit. A second way to communicate to your prospects and customers is text messaging. Why text messaging? Because 100% of text messages get read. 100%, at least 100% of my text messages get read. For most people, that's the same case. Another way to communicate to prospects and customers is get in their DMs, especially if they started the conversation in the DMs with you, or you started the prospecting in the DMs. Facebook, LinkedIn, communicate their DMs. And you get to know if they open it, if they read it, all that good stuff. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So get in the rhythm of utilizing these things to increase your sales, to increase your revenue. And soon and very soon, you'll be dominating. Let's dominate.